Hey, gang, it's Friday. Time for Friday fights. And it looks like the only one that really matters is the one that I'm always fighting with. Uh, that's Matt's probably late as usual. So we'll bring out Matt right away, or bring up Blake right away, the host of the Homeless Conservative. Let's get rid of the overlay so that there's no check mark right on your face.
It's a good look for me, actually. Cover my face.
Yeah, same here. But not a bad idea to remind you to like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. I got to do some other stuff, get going here. So, Happy New Year. How are the holidays? Everything good?
Yeah, great. I mean, I feel like it's easy for me and I shouldn't complain because there are upsides to my family lives here in Oklahoma. My wife's entire family lives in Indiana. So we are either here or there. We're not like jumping from one in-laws to the other or dealing with 4 Christmases or whatever. So it's pretty chill if we're here because we're here and I do my family stuff the weekend before. And then it's nice. And it's like nice and relaxing, which is what I think the holidays are supposed to be. I mean, I realize everyone's busy and has lots of things to do, but I don't like to have so many things to do that it feels like I need a vacation from my vacation, if that makes sense. So it's been relaxing. It's been good. New Year's Eve was chill and we've just been hanging out with neighbors and friends. Our next door neighbors have been trying to adopt for a while and they got a baby like they literally brought him home 2 days before Christmas. So that's been fun too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Trying to deal with government bureaucracy to get an adoption so that they could bring the baby across state lines because the baby was in Missouri. The week of Christmas was a bit of a struggle. We talk about the red tape and people wanting to go on vacation and be done with their government work, but they were like, please sign these papers so we don't have to spend Christmas and New Year's in Springfield, Missouri.
Some other place you don't want to be anywhere near.
Well, certainly not when you're not from there and don't have any family there. So it's been fun. It's been a good Christmas.
Cool, very cool. Well, we got somebody else there we go. Host of the Daily Crypto News, Matt Deemer, Democrat from Cleveland. What is he doing?
He's getting his hat. I can't read what the hat is. I need to blow my screen up a little bit, maybe.
Gotta get the hat.
I need my hat.
Yeah. I should be wearing a hat. Your hair is atrocious, but.
What about you? How was your holiday?
My holiday?
Yeah.
What holiday was that?
New Year and
any of them. All of them.
Yeah, we learned he actually grew up not celebrating Christmas. So
it was good. I also had a birthday in there somewhere.
Okay.
So,
happy birthday.
Awesome. Happy birthday.
Hey, thank you.
That's a busy week.
Why did that not show up on your Facebook?
You know what? I don't know why, but whatever.
It's because people don't put our birthdays in Facebook. So my dad always had the wrong birthday in his Facebook so that he'd be like, haha, that way if people wish me happy birthday, I know they don't really know my birthday. I'm like, yeah, but they're just trusting that you put your real birthday in there and that they were wrong.
Like when that's just shady because I want to know your birthday and I want to say happy birthday to you. Just
I do too.
One in there.
I'm gonna believe your Facebook. I'm gonna be like, oh, I must have had his birthday wrong.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't think that's a good move. Actually,
it's not a good move. It's stupid.
Yeah,
but no, it didn't show up on Facebook. It showed up, which is weird. It showed up on my campaign Facebook, and so I got and so my personal Facebook had my personal Facebook had nobody saying happy birthday. I was sad. Yeah. And I switched over to the campaign one. I was like, oh, okay, people like me again.
People like me.
Oh man, well,
nobody likes me.
Happy birthday anyway. What's the number? What are we up to? I just turned 53 2 months ago.
I'm 45, sir.
You're 45?
I am.
I wouldn't have guessed that. You got a young look for 45, I would say.
I am. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
What are you, Blake? Around 36?
I'm 41.
You're 41? Look at you. See, we should start a boy band.
A 40-plus boy band. Hey, you know what, though? All the fans of boy bands might be 40-plus, too. So we actually maybe make a killing, actually, at that.
That is pretty funny.
I think we're going to be joined by the Tan Talking to Work shortly.
30 seconds they're saying. They're counting us down. So wait, are we live anywhere right now?
Yeah, we're already on 99.1 WDJY and 1400 and 107.1 KSHP in Las Vegas.
Okay, then we should be talking about some things then. And all right, why is
the
Tan Talk
people,
take so damn long?
well, they do news before they sign over to us. They do
Oh,
like
okay, so
6 minutes of news.
what is it
And,
is it those that lib news, or is it the fake media news, or
Tan Talk is we're on. So WTAN 1340 and 106.1 WTAN in Clearwater, as well as 1350 102.3 WDCF Dade City, the Tan Talk Network, as well as the UG.media. They're on Channel XL, Rainbow Radio, Yerg's Radio, and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. 2 websites on the way. Mastiff.media is going to get an upgrade. I had some college kid do it the first time who lives here in like my area, supposedly. And it turns out he's over on the Space Coast. And it was nasty. All I wanted for that URL was to be like a link tree for this show, even though it's eventually going to be the parent company site for everything that we do in broadcasting. Just for now, let that show everywhere, everyone where we're at, just not only terrestrial radio, internet radio, social media, everything. Oh, was that nasty? Yeah,
it sounds horrible.
Yeah. And then Yerg's Radio, or Yergs.com rather, I get this like a week before Christmas. I get this notification that I need to upgrade software with the WordPress. And like, okay. So I go on the site and it's down. I message my web developer, who was an affiliate here on Up the Middle and Yerg's Radio, somebody we've been doing commercials for a year. And he says, yeah, for $200, I'll update you. And I'm like, $200 is all it's going to take. When I gave you thousands of dollars worth of advertising and asked for nothing, which this is one of the things you're supposed to provide. And like, you know what? I'll find somebody.
So what did we learn, Yergs? What did we learn?
You get what you pay for.
And maintenance,
lots of free advertising.
Maintenance necessary on websites for sure. They don't last
Well,
forever.
yeah.
Or even like 6 months now. They're pretty quick.
Which I don't even understand why. What do you mean? I don't understand why that even happens. Like,
well, here's what I don't understand. He did another website, yergergroup.com, which right now is just like an electronic business plan for the hospitality side of the Yerger Group. And that site's fine. There's nothing wrong with that site.
Yeah, it depends. Like, I mean, this is what I used to do is e-commerce.
That's an older site.
Yeah, it just depends. It's all about like one plugin can update and break everything. That's the thing.
The other thing was he had them both rerouted to one of his servers off of GoDaddy, where I was at the time. And I've also made another switch there too. And so basically there was nothing I could do because the files were then on his server. So there wasn't much that I could take back.
Yeah.
And that is exactly why everything was supposed to be on GoDaddy, because we're friends now, but that might change, especially when he pulls a stunt like that. So he's out, and Yergs.com and Mastiff.media will be up and running with at least a placeholder, probably by next week. We, have you guys heard of something called the Biz Growth Collective?
I have not.
There's a guy who is from, I love all these new endings for websites instead of just .com.
Yeah, because we're running out of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, running out of space. But like we're .media, and the name of our company is Mastiff Media. So just Mastiff.media and there's both the company name and the URL. I got that idea from UG, one of our affiliates, the station in London that carries us. The company name is the UG, but their suffix or whatever that's called is .media. And I think they also go by UG Media. And so, again, their URL is also their company name. And this company, Built a Space, is the same way. .space is now a URL ending.
Yeah, I think we're going to end up with every word you could possibly have at the end of URL.
Yeah, I mean, our
people are just
station
Googling stuff anyway,
here,
so it doesn't really matter.
The station that we're launching this year for the LGBT community is Rainbow Radio, but instead of .com, which is already taken,
.radio.
I bought .gay and .lgbt.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, I mean, fitting. So anyway,
Can
KSHP,
you make us big again, like in squares? Like this circle thing's pissing me off.
Circle.
like
for all you people on the radio, we're also doing this on some kind of like live stream, and he has us in these little circles for some reason, and now we can't see each other properly, and everybody's just little heads. And
is that a little better?
Yeah. No, just turn it to normal, man. Come on, why are you doing this? Sure,
that one, the rectangle.
Sure, perfect. Perfect. What are we talking about today, boys? I don't want. This is great filling each other in about business plans and websites, but what are we talking about?
Trump is wrong again. He blamed the attack in New Orleans on immigration.
Yeah, but it'll probably work. Let's be honest.
Because they spin. This guy's.
I don't even know if it's spin. Here's the thing. I would call spin when you take something and you try to like give it a shine that makes it not be terrible for you. This is just lying.
Like Trump does?
No, this is just lying.
Okay.
This isn't normally spin is like, oh, there's something negative about you and you've got to spin it to make it. This is like, that's what a politician does when they're caught in a pickle.
When did he say this?
Lying.
Because I think that's important, because everybody was saying that this is immigration. This was people coming up from the border. And there's this Al Qaeda, and they're talking about this Sean, what's his name? Sean something interview that they did a little bit ago. Where is it?
It was far enough after knowing that this guy was not only a U.S. citizen but a veteran that he was still claiming that it was an illegal immigrant.
Well, wait, are you talking about the guy in Vegas?
I'm talking about the guy in
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
He was a vet too. I didn't know that one.
They were both at Fort Bragg.
They were both vets.
Both vets.
Oh, the Sean Ryan show. Have you seen that clip from the Sean Ryan show? Talking to
I can't stand that guy.
I don't know if I'm a fan yet. I just saw him the first time for this, but he was talking to some ex-CIA lady that says like there's thousands of Al Qaeda terrorists in So look, this was long in a theory for about 24 hours after that happened on Bourbon Street. So I would say, when did he say it?
Trump. I mean, the other day, because I actually ran
this happened the other day.
Yeah, it was happening. So what happened is Fox put something that was wrong out there, corrected it.
Shocker.
Trump was still, well, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think that's exclusive to Fox. I think the problem with today's news is that everyone's trying to get there first and less concerned about getting it right. And so in these terrorist situations specifically, bad information abounds on all the cable news channels. Especially because if you'll notice, this is just my tip to listeners. If you'll notice, what happens a lot of times in the chaos of one of these big news stories is one person will get a detail wrong based on a source being wrong. And then every other news station will cite that news station and be wrong because they're not actually trying to find the source themselves to confirm it. They're actually just saying, well, Fox is reporting or CNN is reporting or whatever. And if that person has it wrong, it spreads like wildfire. So it's a problem that the media needs to get better about, of actually going back and checking, their own sources. But anyway, Trump then continued to cite this source, even though 24 hours later it had been corrected. And it was really quick that we got the information that this guy was a U.S. citizen. So I don't really understand why, like I said, I do understand why he's doing it. It's to vilify immigrants. And I get that that's like basically going to be the goal of his entire presidency is everything he can blame on illegal immigration, he's going to, because he knows it's a hot button issue that he gets some sort of traction on. I mean,
sure. Obviously, this is for whatever poking the bear, and this is why he got elected. And I do get it. But I would say that this was only 2 days ago, guys, and so like there's a lot of stuff that came out. We're only really starting to get profiles of both of these people who committed these crimes, these acts of terror, and information about it. And I'm not trying to defend Trump. I'm just trying to say that, look, I just said something in our other chat, by the way, and the reason why I'm saying this is because people are really quick, and I think that this is just the dumb down of how we're consuming media and the way that we interpret it, to jump on things that aren't true and what people didn't say. And so my friend sent me this about Bernie Sanders talking about H-1B visas, and he says Bernie says in this he says Elon Musk is wrong. The main function of H-1B visas program is to hire not to hire the best and the brightest, but to rather replace good paying American jobs with low wage indentured servants from abroad. The cheaper the labor they hire, the more money the billionaires make. And my friend said Bernie is against H-1 visas. It doesn't say he's against H-1 visas in this. And so what you're doing is reading in these lines of trying to say that we're trying to politicize politicizing the politicians and their words for our own agendas. And look, I don't know. I'm for H-1B visas, by the way, but I'm just saying that it's just like we are turning everything into something that's political without actually the essence of what they're saying. And so that's why I want to say, when did he say it?
Well, he'd first or Truth or whatever, like 8 minutes after that Fox report. So I think it's pretty obvious that he first relied on the Fox thing, but then he has continued to say it since then too. So, I mean, I think that there's no way he doesn't know that he's wrong at this point. And also, president-elects should probably also have a little bit of, not their finger on the trigger in these kind of situations. Cause See, he's got a responsibility. And a lot of people look at him.
He's getting briefings already, and that happened actually right after the election. That starts.
Yeah, and he shouldn't be truthing or tweeting anything that he's getting from Fox News and not getting from his briefings. In my opinion, I think that's foolish. I think it can come back to bite you. Obviously, Trump's not going to listen to me on that.
Yeah, he's not going to. You're not on speed dial.
No, he's not.
No.
He's not going to. I don't think anyone, he's not listening to anyone on that. He's going to tweet or truth or do whatever he wants to impulsively. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to have to think about something. It's unfortunately part of his shtick.
Yeah, I still can't even, I still go with tweet. I don't call it X, and I don't say make an X or whatever the hell the.
Yeah, because turning X into a verb is pretty hard. Tweet/truth.
The other one, Truth Social. I mean, I've been accusing the far right, especially the MAGA portion of it, as being projectionists. And I think we can find a couple different examples of where the projection is also a contradictory, like truth.
Oh, well, yeah. It's pretty funny.
When I say it just in conversation, when I say, well, you know what, to be honest with you, Blake, what's coming? A big fat lie.
Yeah.
And so when you got to call your
if you notice
social.
Yeah. Well, if you notice, Joe Biden always says not joking. Anytime he's trying to tell a lie, essentially, he has the same, they both do this where they have the same almost tick that they do when they're telling something that's not true by further exclaiming that it's true. You're right. It's it's funny that people don't catch on.
Trump does that thing with his teeth where he tightens his lower lip and pulls his corner of his mouth back. Do you ever see him do that?
We also just says things like best ever, worst ever. That's how the other way you know that he's exaggerating. He tells you right in the sentence, it's the worst it's ever been. The best president ever, the worst president ever, the worst, blah, blah, blah. It's okay, we know that this is hyperbole because he's literally using hyperbolic language in the sentence.
Yeah. Don't play poker, Donnie.
Yeah, he should not.
I'll take your money.
He should not play.
All right. Well, Matt's got a very serious look in his face, like he's trying to read something. What do you got? Anything new?
No.
No, yeah, but
It is
Well-
crazy that we had 2 terrorist attacks, lone wolf terrorist attacks, both veterans, both from the same. I mean,
why isn't anybody talking about this New York City shooting in the nightclub? I don't understand
didn't
why
know
that didn't why that's not being
I didn't
talked
hear about
about.
I
That
didn't
was
hear
that was the same night as the Vegas bombing.
this
I didn't
all
hear
happened
about
on New Year's Day, or was
I
it
think
not
it,
New
I
Year's
think
Eve?
I think it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. I'm not too sure. It was one of those 2 days.
I think
Again,
they were
I'm not
both
too sure, but
included.
yeah, I think it was like 11 people got hit in a nightclub. Got shot. I don't know if they're killed, but 11 people.
Was
You know,
it
After
like
this pickup truck ran over
because-
10 people in New Orleans, I think everybody was just like, okay, time to start 2025.
what kind of shooting was it? Because honestly, that's what
Mass.
makes the difference these days.
You mean were they brown people? Yeah, they're not just-
Well, I mean, look, I
Good
think
point.
this is unfortunate, but it's absolutely a truth that like gang-related violence gets no coverage in the
Yeah.
national media. Zero. It might get coverage in local media, and to be fair, I think that that's probably the right place for gang violence to be because it's not a national. For the most part, it's hard to. It's not a national problem you can solve. I mean, you can do some stuff at the margins and stuff, but what bothers me about it is that you're right. Way more people died in that shooting than these terrorist attacks, right?
I don't know
no,
about the New Orleans ones, but
actually- No,
Yeah,
it's
right, but it's about the same. I
it's
mean,
actually tied. There were 10 in New Orleans,
and 15.
and the bomber himself in Vegas was the
No,
only one that died
it
down.
was 15 confirmed in New Orleans. Did that number drop?
no,
No,
it's 15.
I just heard 10. I guess it was
It
earlier
was,
on.
and at one point it was 15. It may have gone back because again, we get these details.
No, it's probably 15 then because I heard 10 earlier on.
So
and-
almost the same number of people died in this nightclub shooting that I'd never heard of. Now, to be fair, I've not been paying as much attention to the news the last week because I kind of took it as
So this nightclub shooting was 10 people shot. It looks like 10 people injured.
So, I think it's unfortunate that we cover violence based on whether it's sensational or not. And a shooting in a nightclub's not sensational, which is crazy to me.
I don't think that's the truth there.
You don't think so?
It is well. It's not that it's not said. Look, all these instances happen like in a linear fashion. It wasn't like a week later or 2 weeks later. I'm just surprised that no mainstream media picked it up or no media picked it up in a way that was substantial. And I still have to go around and tell people that, hey, did you know 10 people got hit in New York? I think that's absolutely crazy.
I do too, but I think it's because we expect there to be nightclub shootings.
No, we don't.
I think
No,
we do.
No,
think
we
we do.
don't. No, we don't. Look, I think that there's something weird that they didn't cover that, especially since shootings in what does the media do? Is they latch onto things. If it bleeds, it leads, sort of thing. By the way, they just said that it was 14 people in New Orleans. By the way,
14
plus driver.
Okay.
So 15.
But so it's so it's like if it bleeds, it leads. But now we chose that this one isn't, even though it was like almost like, hey, this happened in New Orleans. Hey, this happened in front of Trump Tower. Hey, this happened in New York. Oh, we're not going to cover that one. That's just weird. That's absolutely bizarre, in my opinion. That's a very bizarre editorial choice of every media outlet.
I mean, can I tell you why I think it is? It's not my favorite answer, but I think it's because the people that read and watch the news, they like the bleeds it leads is sort of true, except it's not entirely what the thing is. It's not that it bleeds it leads. It's that really the longer version of that saying needs to be like, if it makes the viewer scared, then it leads. That's really what it's fear that leads. People are scared to be out on the streets of New York or in a crowd in New Orleans and get ran over by a truck, like by a terrorist attack, because they feel like that could happen to them. The vast majority of people that are watching the news, just because of the age difference, aren't going to nightclubs. And so they're not scared of getting shot in a nightclub because they don't go to a nightclub. That's unfortunately how we frame the news is will this pique the viewer's interest and will they keep paying attention to this because they feel like it's something that could happen to them? I don't think that's how we should cover stuff because you look at most of if your goal is to reduce violence, which obviously that's not the media's goal, but I think that should be society's goal and government's job and goals, right? We want to reduce the number of deaths by violence. we're not covering the things that actually people are likely to happen. Terrorist attacks are not very likely to happen, just like school shootings are not very likely to happen. And yet they get outsized coverage because it's like, oh, my kids are at school. I can feel like that could happen to them. But the truth is you are way more likely to die getting shot at a club than you are getting shot at a school. They just happen more often. They don't make the news though, because I think there's a racism thing in there too. I think that unfortunately it doesn't get the coverage if, you know, if
Well, I think there's
young
also
black men kill other young black men, it doesn't get coverage. And I think that's wrong. But
there's also a thing about volume. How many flights are there a day? And how many cars are on the highway?
Yeah.
How many vehicle accidents are there?
Right.
And how many plane crashes are there?
Right. But if there's a plane crash, you know it's making the news.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And regardless
like
of
that one that just injured 19 over in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And killed several people.
2. Just I think the pilot and the co-pilot.
Oh, I thought it killed some people inside the building too. Did it?
I didn't hear that yet. Maybe that's new news. But hey,
I think
news changes quick. This is not a news show. This is an opinion commentary show. People,
but I mean, I think that's
we're not bleeding edge news over here from Yerg's radio, unless it's Rainbow News.
So I mean, I think that's unfortunate, but that's why we don't hear of the nightclub shooting, and we do hear of the Trump Tower thing, even though the only person that died was the person inside the Cybertruck. So now, I mean, I do think that's newsworthy. I'm not saying that a guy blowing himself up outside of Trump Tower.
Was he inside the truck when he did that? Because they said he actually died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
I assume he shot himself and then blew up the truck.
He was inside the truck for sure. I haven't heard enough about when he died. But
what I really thought was interesting about the Trump Tower one is very symbolic, of the Trump Tower and the Cybertruck. Very symbolic.
Very, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you couldn't. It's
Not
like
subtle.
almost like it's actually crazy how symbolic it is. I really thought it was interesting how the media also portrayed that one. And I sent you the Ross, the Elon Musk tweet, but the Cybertruck catches fire. Cybertruck reportedly catches fire. Cybertruck,
yeah.
It's like there wasn't like, oh, somebody blew up a truck in front of the Trump Tower, or we could even call it an assassination attempt. I don't even know where Trump was at the time. But the fact that they used Tesla and the Cybertruck almost as it was just a way to get the clicks, and also as a way to bait the whole conversation, instead of saying what happened. The truck exploded.
Yeah, but
the truck was bombed.
Yeah, but he exploded the truck. Yeah, I mean, it's like the Cybertruck did not explode. He set off explosives inside a Cybertruck. There's a significant difference between those two headlines, right?
It's a significant difference, but the truck did not catch fire.
No.
Right.
He blew it up. Yeah.
Well, you talked about like the symbolism and whatever, that it was a Tesla, which is obviously an association with Elon Musk, outside the Trump Hotel in Vegas, an association with our incoming president.
Yeah.
Where does it say the fact that the guy who did it was a Trump supporter?
Well, I mean,
that just came out today, though. I mean, a lot of this stuff, like we have Justin over here in the chat saying he was inside the truck. He was burned so badly that they couldn't tell his face at the beginning, but the gun was found at his feet. Thank you, Justin, for writing in.
His wife left him a few days ago. I mean, this sounds like a suicide. It sounds like a.
But that's a really good point. Yours is like he was a big Trump supporter, and obviously he was not he wasn't a slouch either. He was military, Green Beret. From what I heard, Green Beret, correct?
He was, yeah.
I don't know about that.
So Green Beret, 37 years old.
I didn't know that this guy and the guy from New Orleans were both at the same fort.
Yeah, they're both at Fort.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
But then again,
and this
Braggs is huge.
This guy was in Germany. They weren't at the same time, by the way.
Yeah.
This guy was in Germany and off leave.
And Braggs is huge. It's like
because the FBI said that there was no connection from one to the other.
Well, there's not. Yeah, but that's not a connection. That's not a. Yeah.
It's something to look into.
But it's not like
call a clue.
Yeah, but it's not like the two crimes were not connected, is what they're saying. They're saying these guys did not coordinate. I mean, there are a lot of coincidences, but I think it's pretty obvious that one was a terrorist attack and the other one was a suicide.
Unpopular opinion, maybe hot take. You guys want it?
Yeah, always.
Well, look, we have a military. This is U.S. people who served in the U.S. military and put their life on the line to defend this country and the ideas of this country, and they're getting radicalized in a way. I'm wondering if terrorist cells or terrorist organizations are not targeting our military because of the how pissed off they are about maybe spending a portion of their life of not getting what they thought what they were from the military in America, not only after retiring from the armed forces, but seeing what happened in like the Afghanistan withdrawal, what they did in Iraq and stuff like that. And it's just I guess it's a shame. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe it's not a hot take, but
I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think that's absolutely happening. I mean, here's the reason I know it's happening.
An ISIS flag was found in the truck in New Orleans.
Right. And I know for sure that, I mean, it's happened to me, oddly enough. This is several years ago. This is probably 2000.
Wait, you're military?
No. But like 2013, I got an email that was very clearly it was like a spam email, right? But it was very much like the language of it was trying to incite violence from veterans with PTSD. I mean, it was so clearly written in a way, and then it listed every congressman and senator's home address. So it basically said like, you've been left behind, blah, 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 blah. And I tweeted something about it, which was like, well, this is the creepiest email I've gotten. And sure enough, Capitol Police called me within and they're like, can you forward us the email with the XML and all that kind of stuff in it just so we can try to trace it? But it was very clearly, it was spam meant to potentially get to that kind of demographic, a like sort of PTSD loner kind of, you've already got a lot of the, 20 to 30, 40, even up to that, like single male population already kind of having some of these tendencies. And then you throw in the ex-military thing, especially if there's PTSD involved or any kind of mental illness and stuff. And yeah, you've got a better chance of that person being a lone wolf attacker than like me. Like I got that email and I was like, well, that's weird, and threw it in the trash and, tweeted something about it. But you get it's like any other scam email. What do you need? 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000 to take it seriously?
Yeah, no, I think it's, well, I guess the bigger commentary is, while yes, you might have PTSD, and maybe that is an underlying factor or not, but I'm wondering if the bigger conversation is that they're seeing that the military, in what they thought was service to protect and serve our nation and the Constitution, our military is being more used in ways that they didn't sign up for.
Yeah, they feel disillusioned. Yeah.
Exact. Good word. Thank you. Yes.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think that there's, look both of these guys were American military. That's
the guy in Vegas was Green Beret. Special Forces. You go into that knowing you ain't just, charging some hill. You do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, but I think this guy's wife leaving him has more to do with anything here than anything else.
Probably
that we're talking about. I don't.
Yeah, which one? I thought it was New Orleans that his wife left.
I thought it was Vegas. It could have been both of them. I mean, I don't
know. The interesting thing, the problem here with these two, and I don't mean to disrespect either of them, either situation, the victims, because I don't know the absolute facts. Is that they're all so close together that they're really running together.
Right. That's the thing is, and that's, yeah, I mean,
and they're very similar. They're both middle-aged men that did this, that were in the military, that it's really kind of hard. Like, hey, which one did what?
Right. And here's the scary thing is, so far with the New Orleans one, certainly was influenced by ISIS, but they haven't found any connections so far to anything that they're releasing to say that he was accomplished, like he was helped by anyone. So that's the other scary thing, is that they know they don't even, like ISIS, they're specific. They are encouraging people to do homegrown things without coordination with them, which is different than like how Al-Qaeda worked before. And most of the other sort of organizations that were Middle East terror organizations, it was like 9/11 was a coordinated thing, or pick them, the bus attacks in London or any of the sort of things where like coordinated things from high up, they have approval. ISIS is like, no, you do anything, put an ISIS flag on it, we're happy to help claim it. And to me, that's the scary part, is that you don't have to. There's 400 almost million people in the country. There are a lot of lonely, sort of mentally, I wouldn't say ill. I don't think mental illness is the right thing to say, because I don't think we have any indication that either one of these guys were mentally ill. But you can have sort of a loner, lonely, I don't know, you can be very easily influenced, I think, in those kind of situations online and radicalized. And it doesn't even take coordination to ISIS. We've had now several of these things. It concerns me. I don't think that you can, because I think it's very hard to prevent either one of these things from happening. Like, now, I think New Orleans needed to do a better job of, like, there should not have been a curb he could pop up on to get into the crowd. Like, that's a huge problem for me. When I go to a local like OU game, they have school buses in front of entire intersections where there is no way you could drive a car into the crowds. Unfortunately, that's going to have to be part of every crowd thing that happens from now on, because this happened in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Crazy lady drove in, killed several people to a parade. I mean, this is happening more and more where people are using vehicles if they can't get weapons. And it's very, very hard to stop someone that's willing to die from running their vehicle into a crowd of people.
That's it.
When all you do is crazy. It's like one crazy person. It's not a coordinated thing. It's scary.
So this is how Elon gets the contract for driverless cars and integration, so people don't have the responsibility for driving the cars anymore. This is it.
You do wonder.
Doing something else.
Yeah, you do wonder if there's going to be a technological thing for this in the future.
Because the guy in the chat, Justin Chuck KSHP, that's the program director at our Vegas affiliate, and I'm trying to figure out. Well, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how far away their station is from Trump Hotel. That's why I'm not really jumping into a lot of the.
Yeah, no, I feel Justin's going to write in a little bit and let us know. So, Justin, write in. How far are you from Trump Tower?
Yeah, I'm worried about the copycat kind of situation.
Well, I think that, I saw this guy I follow in the Bitcoin world. By the way, happy Bitcoin birthday, everybody! It's the 16th year since the Genesis block back in 2009. So 16 years of Bitcoin. It's been 16 years. Yes, today. But there's this guy that I follow. His name is Jameson Lopp. He's at LOPP. Real smart dude, Bitcoin guy. I've known him for quite some time. Lost touch with him, but I do still follow him on Twitter. And his tweet the other day I thought was the best about this situation is Elon. After this happened, Elon tweeted, "Hey, let me figure out what happened." And Elon comes back rather quickly and tells you about everything that happened in the situation, to the truck, the telemetry, the where things were placed, blah blah blah. And there was no subpoena. There was no warrant.
Yeah, he can get that.
So you are basically driving around a $80,000 surveillance device.
Which, by the way, not just Tesla. That is basically every new car.
Yes.
Every new car.
And I think that was very interesting because it happened in real time. And I wish people would get a little bit more upset about their privacy and their data, and understand that this, whatever you purchase this car, and it doesn't matter if there's software updates and cameras on it. That should be your data. You're buying this so you can go A to B. It can look at your blind spots and stuff like that. Not so Elon Musk can sit around and tap into your data after you die, no matter if it's a terrorist attack or not. There should be a there should be a subpoena or a warrant for that information at the very least. At the very least. And by the way, Justin just wrote in and said 4.4 miles away.
Yeah, it's about $8. Yeah.
But here's the problem. It's not that Elon looked that up in a terrorist situation. The problem is that all these car companies are selling this information all the time about you. That's really what's actually going on. And look, that's between customers and companies and laws and whatever we want to talk about. But to me, that's the bigger problem, is that these like everyone is doing this. If they can track any information.
Well, I mean, you heard about the insurance company lawsuit with was it GM or Ford? I can't remember.
I don't remember, but it was one of the Detroit.
And anyway, it was one of the Detroit companies. And let me just refresh everybody's memory. So this guy, he's had his premiums go up all of a sudden, and he called his insurance company and he says, "Hey, why did my premiums go up?" And he says, "Oh, well, we think you're a high risk driver." He said, "How the hell do you know I'm a high risk driver? I have no tickets or whatever." Well, what's been happening is the car company, whatever car he drives, GM or Ford, whatever, has been selling his data. And I'm talking about his braking data, his acceleration data, his deceleration data, times he drives, where he goes, speed he travels, seatbelt on, seatbelt off, what he's listening to, is he on his phone, if he's not on his phone, and he's selling that data to LexisNexis, which then turns around and sells that data to the insurance company, which then adjusts your premiums because they think you're more high risk.
Yeah.
We never signed up for that shit.
Yeah.
We have, my son and I are on a plan together with Progressive, and they have the Safe Driver app, which is the exact same thing.
But you opt into that.
Yeah, and that's where
there's a difference there.
But it's not, because they're not telling you all of that information.
No, but like my Allstate one, it specifically in the terms of service says like we can't charge you more, but we can give you a discount if you're a good driver. That's essentially what the contract says.
But that's if you agree to their app,
right?
But that's
the other
thing. We didn't agree to this.
Yeah, if you don't agree to it, then I'd probably leave. But I mean, if you want to agree to it and say, "Yeah, I'll take a discount."
But what do you mean? But wait a minute. Wait, stop. It's not about agreeing. Blake, what do you mean? Just leave? You can't leave your car. Your car is selling that data.
No, I was just talking about the insurance.
We're talking about the app that Progressive requires us to use.
Oh, they require it. See, I didn't know.
That's not cool.
Require.
No,
Allstate, you
absolutely
can
not.
They're out. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Bogus. Sorry.
No. But here's the other thing. Let's just talk about like the actual situation. We would benefit if everyone did that, but like I'm fine with not opting into that too.
Then, I mean, you know what? My jet ski cannot legally go more than 73 miles an hour.
Right.
If I take that
that's really fast in a jet ski.
That's really going that fast on water.
What do you mean legally? Why do you even want to go that fast in a jet ski, sir?
According to the United States Coast Guard, my jet ski cannot travel more than 73 miles an hour.
Yeah.
They do. And I know that mine can, now that I've actually had a protective coating put on the bottom of it. It actually makes it slicker and causes less resistance.
You're just going to die in a jet ski accident.
Now with the 75. I kicked my own ass at 25 miles an hour. That's how I did $8,000 worth of damage to the thing. But
what's it like to fall off a jet ski at even 25?
Oh, when you land into an oyster bed,
It's landing into oyster bed.
Water at that speed is not forgiving.
Water is actually one of the hardest surfaces in the known universe.
Yeah, it can be. I've hit it pretty hard off a tube or a jet ski, and it's not fun. That's why I don't.
Look at how they use it to drill.
True.
A water cannon, and bomb techs use it to destroy bombs before they can go off.
Yeah.
I'm with you though, Matt. I mean, I think that you've got to. I'm all for some regulation there. I think the problem is the government is always so far behind what the technology is doing on that stuff that they're not.
Well, of course, that's why they're trying to ban TikTok 10 years after China took all our data.
They should have done it in 2017. I know it's like this was a solvable problem in 2017, and now it's
everybody's like, hey, look at this China app that they're over here. Everybody's downloading it. Look at everybody's doing stupid dances. Oh wow, we're getting all our news from TikTok.
Right.
What are we doing about it?
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
So yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like this. It is kind of crazy that Elon Musk just on blast on Twitter is like releasing this information about this terrorist attack and where exactly the truck came from, and that no, it wasn't anything wrong with the truck. He has all this data in front of him, and obviously has a way to pull that up without knowing. Like, did he have a VIN number yet? Or I mean, like, how did he? You know what I mean? You're right. It's crazy.
The Tesla was rented out of like Colorado.
Right. But I mean, how did he get the information about the Tesla? There's no way he knew the VIN number.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Of course he did. Of course. I mean, all the Teslas have GPS in them. I mean, you just know where it
you
was.
think he just looked up the one that was in front of Trump Tower?
Of course.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Mhm.
Right?
Absolutely. You can find your iPhone anywhere. I
Right.
can find my iPhone, my earbuds, my Mac right now.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
doesn't matter if they're in front of Trump Tower or
Right,
in front of the Terminal Tower.
Yeah. So to me, that's pretty crazy. And you're right. Like without any kind of warrant or subpoena. Now, obviously, that's the company's prerogative. I think that was probably foolish of him because now every Tesla owner is going to be like, wait, so you'll just like give my information without a warrant? I think people are a little more weary of that.
And Justin puts up a good point here because now that it made 8 stops from Colorado to Vegas, that means they knew every time the route that they took because of the Tesla supercharger stations.
Right.
So I mean, they're getting that. So every time you plug into that, Tesla basically extracts
Yeah.
a lot of your data from your driving telemetry. They have that on the the computer in there first, but also it's getting a lot when you're plugging it in too. So like, it's actually quite crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it is insane. And it's like, it's not just a Tesla thing. It's almost even the ones that don't have a big screen in front of you have lots of computers in them and take lots
Look,
of
I had a Tesla for 2 years, and it was like, first of all, it's really cool, but other than that, it is a 100% surveillance machine. You have cameras in the car, out of the car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's like every new car now. It's gonna keep happening unless customers stop buying them.
I covered up the cameras inside the car, and it wouldn't let me use cruise control. Like,
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what's gonna
I
happen.
gotta take a break. When we come back, we'll finish with this, continue with this. Monitoring MAGA will be the 2 guys again that took place in these bombings. And if you guys got anything, jump in because we're already running late. 99.1 WDJY and 1400 1071 KSHP Vegas. We'll be back after these words. Translating Trump. Hey gang, it's Yergs. Every Wednesday at Up the Middle, we add co-host Philip Blackett, a Harvard-educated and frequently published author who happens to be a Trump supporter. Join us as he translates Trump during Wednesday's Up the Middle, Politics for the Rest of Us. Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific on KS. Hey gang, it's Yergs. Do you have a podcast? Of course you do. It's probably one of the reasons why you listen to us. Well, I got something for you. Flowsend.ai. All you do is take your pre-recorded data, click, drag, and drop right into the inbox for Flowsend AI. Click a button, and out comes everything that you're going to need. From the transcript to content such as keywords, titles for your episode, the timeline, posts for LinkedIn, posts for Twitter, Instagram, other smaller platforms, all the things that it takes you hours to do in literally minutes. So go to flowsend.ai. Tell them Yerg sent you and get your subscription today. Worth every penny. Flowsend.ai. It's still muted. I want to talk when it says to like, subscribe, do whatever on that video. All right, gang. Before the commercial, we were talking about essentially Trump initially being wrong about blaming the attacks in Las Vegas and New Orleans on immigration, when in all actuality, both of the attackers were American citizens and also active duty members of the military. And at least one of them was also an avid Trump supporter. So that's kind of our monitoring MAGA segment that we're already kind of knee deep into. We're going to be losing some of our affiliates in the next 10 minutes. One is KSHP, 1400 AM and 1071 FM in Las Vegas. We're glad to know that they are. No attacker wasn't active duty. I thought Vegas was a Green Beret. But I'll correct that if I was wrong about something in a minute. KSHP is 4.4 miles from the hotel. So apparently everybody there is okay, and certainly glad to hear that. Also, Tan Talk will be leaving us in a few minutes. The 1340 AM and 1350 AM and 106.1 and 102.3 from the Tan Talk network in the Clearwater, Dade City, Tampa Bay area. You can switch over, and not that I want you to leave the station that you're on, but if you want to continue with us in the second hour, you can switch over to Yergz Radio, Yergz, YERGZ, radio.com, or go to my Facebook page. Not my profile, but my page is Ross Yergz Yerger. Why did that not come up? Oh, I think it's because that's running on the bottom. Ross Yergz Yerger is my page. You can find out everywhere else that we are broadcasting the video of today's show. So bring the guys back out and continue rambling on.
So no, what you said is that you said that they were active. They're not active military. None of them are active military.
No, the Vegas guy was.
Oh, he was.
Right.
He was on a leave from being stationed in Germany, but he was active. But the New Orleans guy,
okay.
He left in 2010 sometime.
Sorry, everybody on the radio. We have this other chat. We have multiple chats going with different people putting in different news.
Just like to get things right.
Ken's back. What's up, Ken? We talked to Ken when you were gone last week. Blake.
He's a friend that swears they are good. My first time ever in a Tesla, it attempted to run a red light during turning us into traffic and run a stop sign. Yeah, see, I'm not a fan of the automated driving yet.
Well, but like I do think it has the most potential to be life and time saving in the future. It is not there yet, but
it's going to happen, guys. Just give it a couple
out of
years.
Driving cars will save 30,000 lives a year. I mean,
yes, agreed.
It's a huge, like more than guns, more than almost anything other than heart disease and cancer. If people paid more attention when they were driving, for the most part, almost none of those wrecks are not human caused.
That's why they're called accidents.
Look, my Tesla was an excellent car. Excellent. It drove amazing. It was the sound system was great. The tech was amazing. It was cheaply made. That was my biggest gripe. And the full huh?
Did you have the S?
I had a Y Performance.
Ooh, I like it.
Okay.
I had a Y Performance. Yes, black on black with black tint. Yes, sir.
There you go.
No. It was great. It was cheaply made. That was my biggest gripe. And the full self driving, there was nothing full or self about that.
Yeah.
And I think I paid $10,000 extra because of Elon's crappy marketing, saying that it's going to drive yourself, and what it didn't do any of that, and it still doesn't. And so I sold it as soon as I could, because I just don't like. You know what? Here's the thing: is I understand Elon's vision about stuff and making great companies and great products that is really moving different industries forward. But he's a full-on liar when it comes to his marketing. I don't trust a damn thing he says about it.
Exactly. Great companies are made by great leaders, and he's not that.
I think he was a good leader. I still think he is potentially a good leader. I think it's just that he's
good leaders don't bring hardworking people on Joe Rogan to fire them live on the air. That's not a good leader.
Well, what I was going to say is I think in the last couple of years, he's liked the spotlight more than he's liked being a leader. And I think that can be a problem.
Think?
Yeah. But I don't think that means he wasn't a good leader or didn't run good companies. I think
he's excellent. He's the goats of CEOs.
Right. I think
100%.
If you're the richest man in the world, you get bored. I think that's what happens.
He is absolutely goated.
He bought his way into everything he's ever touched.
Imagine buying your way into something and then becoming the richest person in the world with one of the most valuable companies in the world. And saying you're not the GOAT.
Yeah, everything's worked after he's in there. Like Tesla doesn't happen without him. SpaceX doesn't happen without him.
Alive. he would kick Elon's ass.
Who?
Wouldn't be able to. Steve Jobs. He actually had a
I mean, Jobs
thought.
is goated too. They both can be goated.
Jobs is also
You can have
great. I
LeBron
mean, yeah.
and Jordan. They're both great.
Yeah, they're both. Yeah, it's like doesn't mean that one's
Greatest
terrible at
of all
basketball.
time doesn't mean there's a tie.
I think there
No,
can be,
no.
because
You
there are
have multiple
different types.
goats, dude. You have multiple
No.
goats. Yes,
Yeah, I think
dude.
you can have
Have you
multiple.
ever been to a
That's
farm?
sheep, not
Farms
goats.
have multiple goats.
Those
got
are sheep,
screaming
not
ones.
goats.
Let me ask
No.
our listeners out here. If anybody's on the DMs right now, hey, can you have multiple goats? And I
Of
think
course,
that
all
you
in,
can
for
definitely
God's
have
sake.
multiple goats.
What do you think I pay this phone bill every month for?
I think
Come on.
I think it's like when you're talking about CEOs specifically, because we can't, like, if we're really going to get into the discussion with basketball, at least I could say, like, okay, if we have to pick one goat of goats, fine, let's have that conversation, because we're narrowly tailoring it to the game of professional basketball. Corporate CEO land is so different because Apple and Tesla are such different companies, even. You know what I mean? Like, you really can't. I don't think you can necessarily be successful at one of those companies and go to the other one and also be successful. I mean, I think some of it translates, but not always.
Justin from Vegas just said Jordan and Kobe, there's goats. And yes, you can have many goats from Ken, but Elon isn't one. Ken, you are wrong. That's okay, but thank you for listening.
Yeah, I think Elon is one. I
That's
mean,
my
he
super
I
fan
wish he would
Ken.
shut up, but I think he is one.
Yeah, and Justin says, this Kobe. Yeah, but who's the greatest? Michael's going to tell you. In fact, he just said it yesterday. At 50 some years old, he can beat the entire whatever team that's sucking right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Elon's SpaceX, like being able to land the rocket back and reuse it, is revolutionary on the level of the iPhone.
Well, everything is, dude.
Sure.
Starlink
He's
is.
not the
Yeah,
scientist that developed it. He's not the scientist that developed it.
I know, but
Oh,
like, why?
stop.
But like, that guy doesn't
Stop.
exist without Elon Musk. Just like the guy that designed the
And
iPhone doesn't
Elon-
exist without Steve Jobs.
Exactly my point. And Elon Musk does not exist without the team.
Of course, it's a company. That's what company
Right, but
means.
that's
Is
what
there's more
companies do.
people in a company.
Yeah, but my point is, it doesn't flow the other way. Like the CEO, that leadership has to exist, or nothing happens.
leadership, not bankroll. Bankroll
Both.
comes from the CFO, not the
No, because look, bankroll, you can also fund things. Look at the government. It's funded more than anything else, and it's a failure across the board on all these things. It doesn't do anything better than a private
So
company
is it?
does.
So is it the greatest? If
No,
it's
so-
a failure.
Well, no, I'm just saying that, like, none of this SpaceX
Yeah.
does not happen. Tesla does not happen without Musk's leadership.
Wait, and if you want to go talk about Jobs, didn't Jobs buy a Jobs bought a
We're
wait.
going to lose TN
and they have 2 minutes. In
yeah,
2 minutes,
yeah.
but Jobs bought a company and that failed. By the way, when he was CEO of Apple,
Well, Jobs got fired essentially from Apple and then came
and
back.
then he got fired, and then he came back. So look,
And
there's
made it
many
what it
different
is.
paths,
So-
and also it's like basketball. The game
What-
of basketball
what is it
changes,
now?
the companies changes.
True.
We can go back and talk about the Rothschilds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, okay,
You're right.
some
After,
kind of Gilded Age tycoon.
Matt Deemer can be reached info@deemerforcongress.com or matt@dailycryptonews.net. Are you still using the Congress one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, all right. Blake can be reached at info@thehomelessconservative.com, and you can get us all news, NEWZ, at Yergz, YERGZ.com. Oh, yeah, I can put these up too. There they are. There's Matt at dailycryptonews.net, info@deemerforcongress.com, and Blake at thehomelessconservative.com. And you can get all of us news, NEWZ, at Yergz, YERGZ.com. Yergz.com and massive.media will be up and running soon. They're down right now because of the stuff we talked about an hour ago. And today's show will also be available again. We stream it live to YouTube, 2 channels on YouTube, 1 on Facebook, and a bunch of others. But you'll also now be able to get it as a podcast, Spotify, iHeart, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. Just search Up the Middle and Yergz, and you'll find us. Thanks for running with the big dogs, gang. It's been Up the Middle. We'll come back for another hour in a couple of minutes. We'll be right after this. So Matt said in the private chat that we get a speaker vote today.
Well, we should. I mean, I don't know if it'll happen today, right? I mean, it doesn't have to happen today. They're getting sworn in. Congress gets sworn in today, but I don't know that they have to pick a speaker today. I don't know enough about
I think we lost. We lost DJY too. I'm just gonna do a few things here. Give me a second. There. All right. So do you think it's going to take, what was the last one for McCarthy? 15 rounds, 16 rounds, whatever it was?
It's hard to say. I mean, I haven't paid a ton of attention to the speaker stuff. I mean, I know that like Trump has Johnson's back. I don't know if that helps or hurts. It's weird because when you've got such a small majority, it just makes it really easy to have to capitulate to a couple of crazy people that might just have I mean, really, the whole McCarthy thing happened because of a personal vendetta. It had nothing to do with any policy or the way he was doing the job or anything. It was literally just Matt Gaetz didn't like Kevin McCarthy. And so
because Kevin, but the reason why?
Yeah, because he was looking into it. I mean, that ethics report that we've now read, which we should maybe talk about.
Yeah, well, no, Kevin McCarthy wouldn't squash it, which was already in the process of happening because of other speakers, other chairs of the ethics committee. He had nothing to do with it. But because Gaetz said, okay, we get a new guy, this guy's going to step in and stop it, I'm going to ask him to do it. And McCarthy said no.
And I think it's pretty obvious why Matt Gaetz wanted to do that.
Do in an ethics committee.
Yeah, because you looking at that ethics report, it's not good for Matt Gaetz. Whether he did anything illegal or not, I don't think his reputation has been helped.
He's got buddies directly related to these same incidents that are serving 15 years.
Oh yeah, no. I think Gaetz is probably criminally active. I just think there just wasn't enough evidence to prosecute him for it. I mean, I think that he obviously
had the DUI girl. You mean like the DUI when he was arrested and that got squashed because Daddy made some phone calls?
Well, but that was before he was in Congress. That was when he was like 22, right? I mean, it was a while ago, I think. But I'm all for like things in the past potentially being forgiven on mistakes. But like, it doesn't sound like it was a mistake. It sounds like it was behavior that continued on. So my point is, someone can just have that same kind of problem with Mike Johnson and tank this whole thing. Like three people can have that problem with Mike Johnson because he's not going to get any Democrat votes. I do think Trump backing certainly helps Johnson. I mean, it doesn't hurt him in a specific way. I just don't know if it does enough to drag him over the line.
I think he's gonna get voted in first round of voting. That's my bet. I
don't think that's a bad bet. I think that
who's gonna follow Massey? I mean, look, I like Massey in a lot of ways, but like, who's gonna follow Massey? I mean, you got already Marjorie Taylor Greene going and saying like, "Hey,
but I mean, like, again, he only needs like what, 4 people right now? No,
and who's going to do that? I mean, unless they really want to get do that for publicity and just drag it on for a couple rounds. I mean, okay, great, but who's going to do that? That's really just going to.
When Gaetz did that,
but it might be a new one we don't know about that wants to make a name for themselves. Like, keep in mind, this is a bunch of pundits. It's not really people that are serious about their job, and they may even.
That's true.
They may want to throw a wrench in the gear just to get a little publicity and then vote.
I just don't know who into it and who's going to come in. That's not
when
Gaetz
did that same thing. When Gaetz did that same thing, did he get any decent committee selections afterwards?
Yeah, he got nominated for DOJ.
I mean, he got that.
No, but I mean, when he pissed in McCarthy's Cheerios.
Well, McCarthy but he got him fired. So it didn't he didn't. There was no retaliation by Kevin McCarthy because he got him ousted. Well, I mean, the irony is that he claimed
initially, though.
But these are two different ball games. One we had Joe Biden as president. Now it's Trump coming in. You're not if you break up the party, I promise you're going to have some hard times in DC.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
So I don't think anybody is. If somebody's stupid enough to do this because they want to cut their 5 minutes of fame, then go ahead. But you're not going to live long in DC.
Yeah, I think you're right, Matt. I think that it will, but someone may think it's worth throwing that bomb. You know, so
Hey, if they want to do a
Because-
TikTok and have a podcast career afterwards, maybe go for it.
right. 'Cause I mean, look at like
is it going to cause any of them to maybe do something like a party change?
no, I don't. There's no such thing as
To,
that
to
anymore.
the unpopular.
The only party people change to now is independence. I mean, it doesn't. It
Yeah.
doesn't. I mean, whatever you can say, RFK and Tulsi Gabbard, but I don't really believe their transitions. I believe that they have the exact same views and positions they have as Democrats, and for some reason they've just been embraced by the right, which can't figure out why because they've not changed any of their positions.
Right.
You know, but they're not even calling themselves. I don't think they're even registered Republicans, either one of them. So I don't see a lot of party switching. I see some moving to independence, but yeah, I think Matt's probably right. I think Mike Johnson does get in. I do think that there's no way someone doesn't throw away the weight around a little bit to make him understand that he's expendable, because I think that the little people in Congress will want to be more powerful, which is understandable. I do think Congress is messed up in the sense that we're not doing anything from the bottom up. We've talked about this over and over again. As Matt says, make Congress work again. But I don't see a lot of like principled arguments for, Thomas Massey and that crowd like to say these things when it's okay to do so, but they don't actually put their money where their mouth is a lot of the times on, once the omnibus package comes, they vote for it most of the time, and they drop in line to whatever their party says they need to do. So I don't see any like way that this Congress is going to change the way Congress functions. I've seen no indications. I would love to be wrong about that.
I agree, but I mean, okay, so here's my another unpopular opinion. I think that some Democrats that really think that it might be a good move for them should vote for Johnson. They should cross the aisle and vote for Johnson.
I think they should too, because I think he's more reasonable than most of the other, even though I don't like.
So it's been proven he's been reasonable when it came to the CR. It has been proven that he wants to work with people. It has been, and so you can get a lot worse, I promise you, than Johnson. A lot worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's going to be.
Rand Paul is calling for Elon Musk to be the Speaker of the House. So
actually, you don't have to have a member of Congress.
Oh, I know, but that's crazy.
Yes, but that makes that puts him in third in line. So, but he's not American or natural born. So I wonder if he actually could.
He wouldn't be in line. He can be the Speaker of the House, but he couldn't be in line.
The speaker, but he
would still be the Speaker of the
Because
House.
There have been cabinet members that were actually Canadian.
Yeah, and they just skip over them.
They're not. Yeah, they're lower down the chain anyway, but that doesn't matter. They can't be the one that is at the undisclosed location. Because they can't serve in that office in the first place.
Is it Secretary of Agriculture that's after Speaker of the House? It's something like that. It's like the oldest secretary.
No. No, it's the Secretary of State.
Is it? Is that next in line? That probably is. Yeah, that's probably right.
The first one in line after the president is the Senate, which is the vice president. And then it goes over to the House, which is the Speaker. And then it goes to the cabinet, which is the top cabinet member is the Secretary of State.
But it's not about the top. It's the order we created the cabinet positions, which is asinine. We should change that, right? It should be the
because Secretary of Homeland Security is clearly a priority, and
that's who it should be.
The last one,
right? Because this is just getting into some logistical like things that we should change in the Constitution. If the president and the vice president and the Speaker of the House have been taken out, we are under attack, right? There's no situation where that's not the case. It should be Homeland Security or Secretary of Defense or something like that.
It goes
Secretary of State, and then Secretary of Treasury, and then Defense.
Right, but it's Speaker, and then the Senate, President pro tempore of the Senate, and then Secretary of State. I think that
makes sense.
Yeah. I wonder if state's the right thing. I think it should be Homeland Security. If we're going to create Homeland Security, that should bump up.
The Senate choice is the vice president. That is the only constitutional.
No, it's not. It's vice president, then Speaker of the House, then President pro tempore of the Senate.
Where are you seeing that?
USA.gov. Order of presidential succession.
I need resources.
I'm not
check that.
Media on that. Yeah.
That makes total sense to me. But anyway, we're getting off. We're getting off.
Right.
Whatchamacallit.
I just feel like we should
so
have
what I'm
better
saying is
succession plans.
Johnson is not the worst that the Democrats can do right now. Honestly, it could be a lot worse. And honestly, I think that if a Democrat was in office and they're just coming in and they want to make a name for themselves, also maybe get some things done, I would vote for Johnson. Don't just do the ceremonial thing for Hakeem Jeffries. I mean, because it's just a wasted vote.
But do you think that they want to get things done, or would they rather have chaos in the GOP so that they can win in 2 years? That's the question.
And that's where I think a political bully pulpit would actually probably be good for him to say, "Hey, I'm doing this because I want to get things done, make things work here. Even though we're in minority, we still have to support our president. We still have to support. I don't care if you like him or not. And yes, you will get primaried, but I think that you will create a name for yourself of somebody who gets things done, and you'll get a little bit of dollars coming into your campaign. So I think actually it'll be a good move." But you'll probably be just too scared to do it because you don't want the Democrats to hate you.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is no one's going to do it.
According to Wikipedia, I never knew that the pro tem was that high up for any reason, because the only thing they do is actually run the Senate in absence of the vice president.
Yeah.
But apparently they are officially on the list of succession.
Yeah.
And,
because the vice president just breaks the tie vote, but doesn't run the Senate.
Well, no, in modern politics, that's all they do.
Yeah.
But the actual legislated responsibility of the vice president of the United States is to run the Senate.
Yeah.
And that's because that dates back to when the vice president was selected by who came in second place.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad one. It was a
you didn't
shotgun
run.
wedding. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like we should move, instead of doing those in order they were created, I think Homeland Security should be higher on that list, because crap is really in the fan if we're that far down the list. Honestly.
Only thing, the biggest thing that I still disagree with in some of the logistics and what they do for things like the State of the Union, and they send somebody, off to, well, everybody actually knows now it's Mount Weather in West Virginia, and that is that they send a nobody. They send the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
Right. Yeah.
Is that really who you want to be the only one left?
Well, I mean,
shouldn't that person be the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Defense?
Yeah, I would think so. But I mean, I guess
the Secretary of Defense, when you have the entire Joint Chiefs sitting there.
Right. I guess the problem is if someone really attacked Congress during the State of the Union, which is what the situation is you're talking about, we have such a bigger problem than, like, we literally have no government other than a president at that point. Like,
there's a book about that.
There's a show too, the Designated Survivor. It wasn't great, but like, it was
too.
It's a really interesting idea, though, because the truth is we are not prepared for that kind of situation to happen, and it's
Speaking of shows, really quick, I just rewatched. I think it was 2007 movie or 2004 movie with was it Ben Affleck? It was one where the bomb was taken from Ukraine and lost. What was it called?
Are you talking about Sum of All Fears?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's a lot better than people give it credit for.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. I like Jack Ryan movies, but I'm the Harrison Ford ones are close to my heart. I think they are the best ones. But yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, similar situation, like president at the football game, right? That's what it was. It's like the Super Bowl or something that it was blowing the nuke at. Yeah. I think those are things that the government should have better plans for these kind of things, and maybe they do, but it just seems like it's all chaos. And
I
gotta get back to some of the chats a minute. Rosie Ruiz, I don't know what we're talking about. I know the trucks and whatever, but I think this is a little extreme. Your usual suspect are truck owning vets.
Yeah, they rented the trucks, so maybe pay attention to the facts.
I can relate to what she's saying there, but we need to jail all truck owning male vets and find out what the hell is going on.
Rose, you have no one left in Oklahoma because we all drive trucks.
Okay. All of my neighbors would be gone, even more so than they are now.
They rented the trucks too, so to try to paint a whole group of people when these people weren't even those people is, I think, as ridiculous as if we said, oh, because this guy's Muslim, all Muslims are terrorists. It's as ridiculous of a saying to say that all truck owning vets are potentially dangerous. It's not true. 100%. It's still very low percentages. These are still very lone wolf. Honestly, Looks like both of them
I
had
feel
financial and
Rosie was trolling us here, but but I feel Rosie was trolling us. Rosie, if you're still listening, please can
maybe
you
she
confirm your
was.
statement and make sure that and tell us if you were serious or not.
Maybe she was, but like
Shout out, Rosie.
I just think
Rosie Ruiz.
here's
You're
Rosie.
good.
We need to jail all truck owning. Okay, great. She's got to be trolling us for sure. If we're gonna jail all truck owning males, that would be like internment camps. But
I get a minivan. I mean, I've got the Mastiff Media minivan. Does that count? Is that a truck? Is it enough of a truck?
Just the fact that you have a minivan with a Mastiff on it, I think should be
Well, if
enough
we
to go
want
to
to have,
jail.
yeah, it does sound.
You know,
Or
funny
at
story-
least 500 feet from any school.
funny story about that.
Oh, please.
Oh boy, I
This
can't
is not
wait.
doing well.
And he wanted to know if I was going to make it look like the Dumb and Dumber minivan.
With the dog, the
The
dog
dog ears.
earring one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, I don't know. We're all over the place, but yeah, I think Mike Johnson's pretty safe, Matt. I think you are wise to say that that's what a good Democrat should do. I don't think anyone will do that though. I think it would be refreshing to see someone come in and be like, I'm not playing this stupid political game. I just don't think they will.
Do you think I can like superimpose Matt face on Jim Carrey there and put you and
Yes.
Jeff Daniels and maybe put
I mean, you look a little bit like Jeff Daniels, honestly.
Hey, I've got an idea that something I read over the break that I want to run by you guys and see if you think it would help. We're always talking about like ways to improve Congress. One thing that I thought was Chuck Todd had an article. It was basically like, here's a bunch of ways that I think it would help government function better. And one of them was requiring 75% votes for all judges. And his point was that it would require bipartisan buy-in on like the federal judiciary. You'd have to get someone that can get 75% of the Senate, and it would stop what has happened. Like even 10 or 20 years ago, almost every judge got 99% or whatever. You know, they might get one dissent vote. But over the last decade, it's turned into maybe decade and a half, we'll say, since 2010-ish. It's turned into a partisan thing. It's sort of like Democrats won't vote for Republican nominees. Republicans won't vote for Democrat nominees. This isn't how it used to be. Ruth Bader Ginsburg got like 98 votes in the Senate and stuff. That's how it always used to be. I thought it was pretty interesting. I was curious what you guys think, because they're basically saying it turns into these.
We just don't have any judges.
You think that's what would happen?
Yeah, we just wouldn't have
You
any
think we
judges.
just wouldn't fill any seats?
Nope.
It would be hard.
See, I do think it would be a long-term good, because what it would do is it would encourage you, if you wanted to have one of those federal judiciary seats, to not be partisan in the lead up to it. Like I think it would make judges behave less partisan. And I don't think that they do behave super partisanly for the most part, but there is some situations where it's like, okay, you know, the Ninth Circuit's going to go a certain way. You know, the Fifth Circuit's going to go a certain way based on the nominees. I think that's bad for America. I think it's bad when we think we know the outcome based on who nominated a judge. And I do think we have to fix that problem before the judiciary has the same like approval rating that Congress does. Like I think we do have to nip that before it gets to the point that Congress has now. Because I think Congress is basically unfixable unless you have a president and a speaker of the House that are willing to really shake things up together and don't care about all the things that the parties care about right now. As far as like, they're not just worried about keeping power. They're not just worried about vilifying the other side. They actually would want to compromise and things like that. I don't see that being, they'd have to go, hey, we're going to relinquish power and let the committees actually bubble stuff up. I think that's going to take a very special speaker of the House that I think is a little bit of hopium, as Matt would call it. And and so I wonder if this would nip the judicial process, because you're already seeing both sides say the courts are illegitimate. And I think that needs to get stopped before it gets worse. So do you think it wouldn't work?
Wouldn't work.
Would you be for it if you thought it could happen? Are you for it, or you just think no one would ever get confirmed again?
Nobody ever can get confirmed again, because that's the thing is you want to own the other party. I mean, even if you did let's just look at this. We were just talking about Mike Johnson and a couple of Democrats crossing the aisle to vote for something to just push America forward. And you think and we're talking about one or two. One or two is not going to cross the line. So you think that we're going to get 75% of Congress to vote for, even if you liked him or not, if they had an R or a D in front of their name, or a liberal or progressive or conservative in front of their judgeship, that they're going to get confirmed? At this point of the game, no, it's not going to happen. All you'd have is no judges.
Right, but I'd actually be okay with that if it made Congress look bad. Does that make sense?
I wouldn't be okay with that. Congress looks bad right now, and so now you just have no judges
It's
and
happening.
12% approval rating of Congress.
As a result,
Yeah,
nothing's happening as a result of them looking bad.
right. But I mean, I think at some point they need to be so bad that like Americans go, okay,
No, I don't think so, dude.
You don't think so?
I don't.
I don't see how it ever gets better.
Bro,
Yeah, how does it get better?
I don't think you just like it's interesting sometimes. I'm sorry. I'm just nothing personal, by the way.
No, fine.
But it's like we were just talking that like somebody, Matt Gaetz, has an ethics report that has been covered up. People that he's been with are in jail for 15 years, and we're saying like, well, if it gets bad enough, they just won't get reelected. I'm sorry. How much more worse do you want to get? So
To be clear,
I said that with January 6th. I said that with January 6th. Like, okay, Trump's done.
Right.
Now look.
Right. But that's my that's my point though, is that I think things have to get astronomically worse. I don't think they can because people keep, for the most part, Congress gets reelected, even though they have incredibly low approval ratings. People keep reelecting their Congress people and their senators.
Not my backyard. The problem's not with mine. That's what they're saying.
Right, exactly. So basically,
a good example is Marcy Kaptur. She is the sweetest lady ever, but she's been in office since 1981, sir.
It's a long
time. And everybody's talking about we need to have younger people in Congress. Let's get some new blood in there. And she just got elected, and she's there today to be sworn in after Mike Johnson gets elected again. And she's been in. She is almost my age. She's been there since ever I was born, since ever I was a little kid. 81. Yeah, but 79, by the way.
I was going to say she's a little bit more than your age.
It was 40. She's been there she's been in office for 43 years.
Yeah.
So,
right, but
great lady, by the way, great lady. Just
Ken, what does Ken have against ice cream trucks?
Well, I think he's going from the molester standpoint.
Yes. 500 feet from a school.
The lure, yeah. I feel like something has to change in Congress in some sort of drastic way, because we keep trying to rely on presidents to do more and more, and it's getting worse and worse. It doesn't work.
I'm getting this invite. Who is it? I gotta try to see if I can pull it back up from Facebook. There is a third party ish that is trying to make themselves relevant. I'll see if I can pull it up with an Facebook ad somehow. They sound interesting. Sounds good.
What is this again?
No, they don't.
I mean, really, are we
interesting, sir?
Are we ready for the party again?
I don't think third party is going to happen. I mean, I think that if it didn't happen in 2024, I don't see any other more perfect situation at the presidential level for sure. I think that you're going to start seeing more independents win potentially, and in like House seats specifically. Nope. I think you will see some of it.
Nope.
If nothing else, it will be people that leave their party and run as independents because they get primaried, and those people do have somewhat of a track history of winning.
Joe in Vermont. Jewish guy.
Or Alaska, Murkowski did it right, where she ran as an independent after getting primaried. It's happened in a couple places. It happened in where's the other place it happened? Well, I mean, we have to go back a little while, but Joe Lieberman, it happened with him.
Joe Lieberman, I was thinking of.
It does happen sometimes. I think that's how it starts potentially. I do not think that there are some people that are way more hyped up on the independents are the future. I think if one party gets their act together a little bit, a lot of those independents peel back off and go back to their party. I don't think that it would take much for them to go back. I think that most of the people that register as independent now are really fed up with the two parties, but I don't see them seeing a third party come along and being, oh, those are the people for me, because no one's defined themselves well enough. Like the no labels thing, they just didn't define themselves. I think people want to be defined somehow.
I disagree.
What do you think?
I disagree. Here's the thing: is like when you leave a party and you say I'm independent, it means that you want clear definitions of why you're leaving. Everybody has a clear definition of why they're leaving. It's for this reason or that reason. It's not for a unified sort of general reason. And so therefore, no third party I've seen actually was able to tick. Huh?
Lieberman's still a liberal. He only did it for self-preservation, and he won.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's a different situation. When someone gets primaried and loses and then runs as an independent to win their seat, keep their seat, I think that's different than when someone leaves the Republican Party because they don't like Trump or leaves the Democratic Party because
I thought we were just talking about voters. Are we talking about politicians?
Both. I'm talking about
both.
I'm talking about both because I do think that the independent voters, when it comes to people that have left, I think most people have left the Republican Party because of Trump. I think that's if you were a Republican, you're now an independent. I think it's probably Trump would be the explanation for most of those people, I would say.
Yeah, 100%.
So I don't see them jumping to a third party before I see Trump being out of the picture and them coming back to the Republican Party. Just because I have not seen that any third party has gotten the traction. That can obviously past is not indicative of what future performance could be. We could have a political talent that comes along as an independent that really captures, like if Barack Obama is an independent, is it a different situation? I don't know. Or like, I don't want to say Bernie Sanders, but I do think Bernie Sanders caught a little bit of that kind of fire too. I think it's more the personality than the party that's next to it. That's what would have to happen. There'd have to be like a very charismatic leader, I think, for there to be some sort of switch at the mass voting level.
There would have to be a perfect storm, in my opinion, but I still don't think that'll create a third party. You might have if you want to talk about a presidential election, then it's first of all, it hasn't happened. So
yeah,
like let's just we like something crazy would have to happen. Second, if we're talking no third party has emerged, we've seen splinters in parties. They might morph into something different and try to but we've seen things like the Ford Party that was up and now it kind of I feel is fizzled out. There's the Green Party that never did anything. There's there's all these different parties, but like again, once you start going to these parties, they start to get so niche, and that's why the Republican and the Democrat Party are mostly big tent general ideas. Like, what do they stand for the most part? We don't really know. They're just general ideas.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, like, I'm a Democrat today because I believe this, and this, and this. But once you start leaving the party is because you have a specific reason. I don't think the Democrats do this. I don't think the Republicans do this. Where is my party? I need specific ideas. And then everybody says, oh, well, what's your specific reason? Why do you exist? What are you here for? And then everybody starts niching down and going like, you're not my particular thing that I really like and care about. So I'm not going to be with you. So that's why you're an independent.
Yeah.
And so you can't organize those people.
Right. And I also, it makes it really hard too, because if people want to niche down, it's not possible within two parties. Really, I think we're thinking about it the wrong way. We should be willing to fight within our parties about and not agree with everything.
Exactly.
And exactly. That's coming from the top down, they're saying, no, you have to agree with everything we say.
I was all about the third party for a long time, but the more and more I realized that everybody had their niche thing that you had to make, then it's just like, I can't deal with all of this and just create a union of all those people together because everybody was just fighting for their own thing. Yeah. And that's why you're an independent. It's like, I didn't want to be that. I'm an independent now. Okay, yeah. Do your thing.
All right. We got to take a break quick. When we come back,
tell me what to do, Ross.
And there was, this was the other thing with watching the wokies. Do the Democrats have more issues than just dealing with the woke agenda? So we'll talk about that when we get back. 99.1 is gone. So who's left? America One Radio. We're still there. We're on the UG.media and Rainbow Radio, Yerg's Radio, and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after I send these guys backstage because these are actually going to be live spots. So let them go talk back there for a little bit. Where the hell's the... Oh, God, I need a producer. All right, so... biz growth. If you're in Florida and you're tired of LinkedIn censoring you, even though you're telling the truth and eventually getting kicked off like I did, Biz Growth Collective is the place you need to be for business to business networking. I'm there already. And what did I find? New web developer, an amazing web developer who's getting stuff done quickly. Go to bizgrowthcollective.com or just scan the QR code that's on the screen right now. bizgrowthcollective.com. This is for actual registered businesses. Case in point, one of the things you need, an EIN to register your business. Go here for actual serious networking, not empty promises, not sending somebody a message that they never reply to. Actual members that are held to standards and to accountability with networking events. And you should see, the website these people put together is sick. The event that I'm going to attend on Monday morning, the virtual event, is amazing. So go to bizgrowthcollective.com or scan the QR code on your screen right now. And I'll bring it back up later because I'm going to bring up another one. Also, buy Blackett. I'm out of sugar, or I would have made some coffee today, and I would have put it in the coffee mug that I got from buyblackett.com. Again, if you're listening, you can go to buy, as in like purchase, Blackett, the color with 2 T's, Blackett, ETT.com/Yergs. You need that too. So you get your discount. It's like 15%. So sweet discount. Buyblackett.com for t-shirts, mugs, all kinds of actual patriotic and personal type stuff like guns out, suns out, guns out, whatever that saying is. I haven't been to the gym in forever, so what do I know? But that, all I need is wine and my dog. That's what my one coffee mug says. Or all I want to do is sit here and sip wine and pet my dog. That's what the other one says. So yeah, real cool things. Buyblackett.com/Yergs, bizgrowthcollective.com for amazing business to business networking. So before I kicked everybody backstage, he taking a bath. I'm gonna have to take a bathroom break too eventually. The coffee and the vitamin water. So the woke agenda, is that what killed the Dems this past time around? Anybody?
Sorry, my kid was talking to me.
That's right. The woke agenda, is that
What
killed the
happened?
Dems around?
What are we
or they
talking
got-
about? I'm sorry, I was watching Justin Timberlake perform at some.
I was distracted by my 4-year. He's distracted by Justin Timberlake. Whatever works.
Yeah. The woke agenda. There, we've got an article where that saying that the Democrats' problem is not as simple as wokeness.
I think that's
Are there problems? Are there more problems than just their woke agenda?
definitely.
Such
Yeah,
as
the
what?
woke, I don't even think this woke agenda is a problem. Honestly, I think
Right.
the problem is hypocrisy.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's right.
Look, I don't. If you can stand on something, I don't. Because it's hard to define woke. And in my opinion, like there's some things that piss me off, and it's like, yeah, that's stupid, or it's and everybody's like, oh, well, that's woke. But I don't like the definition. I think the biggest thing and the biggest problem with the Democratic Party right now is hypocrisy, because the past 4 years is they try to stand on some sort of moral platform that they didn't do themselves.
Right.
And it's been so apparent that it's almost that I think this is why they lost the election. It was like, we got to defend democracy, not have a primary. We want to lie to you about Joe Biden or gaslight you that Joe Biden was only supposed to run for 1 term, and then he comes back and says, I'm running again. But he never said that. Yes, he absolutely said that. He absolutely said that. Don't gaslight me. And so or say like there's no problems when there are definitely problems when it comes to the border or inflation. It's like the hypocrisy and the gaslighting is what people didn't like about the Democratic Party. It's the I think one of the
that was
biggest,
existent in the Republican Party, though.
I think the other bigger thing is like like you have AOC going wearing a shirt that says, or a dress that says "Eat the Rich," and then you have Pritzker come on stage right after Bernie Sanders.
Right.
And it's like, what are you doing here? It's like, you can be a big tent, but there's also like, do I have moral clarity about what this party stands for? That
No, you
is what I
don't.
think that the Democratic Party is missing right now. Not running on the issues that people care about and being hypocritical about the things that they say is important.
I think that's the problem. Is it's like here's the thing about the woke agenda stuff. You're right. Woke is too big of a catch-all word that Republicans have basically used for anything they don't like. So basically anything they don't like, they call woke, even if it doesn't fit that definition. Like, I don't think,
Which, by the way, they're not fascist at all.
well, but also calling Republicans fascist every time, just throwing, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. If you call every Republican fascist and every Democrat woke,
I don't call every Republican fascist. I call Trump.
I'm saying you, the general. You know, I'm saying, like, I don't think it helps.
Trump and DeSantis, the two fascists in the Republican Party.
I wouldn't even go that far necessarily.
I think that's also a catch-all anymore.
I think it's a catch-all too. It's like
I just said I don't call every Republican fascist.
I know, but I think it's also a catch-all to even
Republicans
say the two of them are fascist.
I call Republicans that write 92 executive orders to do something with the border, like Trump did, that didn't get fixed either. That's fascist.
So is Biden also a fascist for signing executive orders that are illegal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, see, here's the thing.
I've never heard.
But wait. This is a slippery slope.
Orders.
Wait, stop. Hold on.
Bypassing Congress.
That's what Biden was doing.
Wait,
so
this
so
is the
Trump.
slippery slope that we always go down.
Times on the border alone.
Yeah. So my point is, I just like to call it unconstitutional. I don't really care about the label of fascist, communist, things like that. I'd rather say this is illegal.
When that's how you govern, and you pretend to be representing the people, Trump doesn't like you.
Yeah, but I've just never heard you call Joe Biden a fascist, and he's doing the same thing. And that's my point. That's why these labels don't help, is because all they do is turn off one other side.
He at least sent those bills to Congress.
No, he did not. He signed student loan forgiveness all by himself. He had nothing. It doesn't matter.
The first thing he did. That was the first bill.
Doesn't matter. If you sign something you know is illegal as an executive order that's unconstitutional, I think you should be impeached and removed. And it's as illegal as when Trump did it, and it's as illegal when Obama did it or when Bush did it. If you sign something that you know is unconstitutional as the president of the United States, you should be impeached and removed. Period.
That type of definitive. There's gray areas in governing. And
I don't think there is.
Answer. That's fascist.
They swear to uphold the Constitution. If Barack Obama signs something that he thinks is unconstitutional, he's not upholding the Constitution.
You know, I heard a theory the other day. You guys, what do you think about this? That that humans operate best when they're both fascist and communist at the same time. And they said that, and the theory is like, if you go back to societies when you were tribal, like there was this fascism because there was the king of the village that said this is the way things go, and these are the laws of the village. At the same time, if you went in and killed your own deer and didn't share the meat with everybody, you were done with, because it was a communal based society where everybody shared everything. Yet you had strict rules with one head leader that enforced those rules. And they said that is a very good way to that humanity works.
Example of a society where that actually worked long term.
But that's also
I'm just talking about like back like tribal society.
Looking at it too, because they also had systems in place for that guy who never went hunting in the first place, never went fishing, never participated in war or anything else. They weren't fed.
Yeah,
they were the elders.
Neither one of those systems.
No, I'm talking about anybody our age or ability.
See, I disagree. Neither one of those systems have ever worked, and they don't work in combination either. Really, here's the truth: because there's really not a difference between fascism and communism when you get down to the boiler point of it. Is that you end up with people that take all the power and the money and keep it from the people that don't. That's what ends up happening in all of it.
Which is why there actually is no such thing. There is no communist government operating. No, there aren't. They're communist in name only.
Well, but my point is, that's the point is communism leads to that every time. It never doesn't, because that is the natural consequence to communism, is you're going to end up with that system. No one ever ends up. It's never
start with the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party.
Well, here's my point to get back on that, is that when you label the fascist thing or label the socialist thing, because by the way, this is the woke thing or whatever the label is that we throw on things, when it's just like, I don't like that thing, and therefore I'm going to throw the Nazi label, or he's Hitler, or he's fascist, or they're socialist, or they're communist.
We need to have that episode, by the way, because I've done even more research. Donald Trump is the next Hitler.
I mean,
Oh
let's do it.
my
Let's have that.
goodness.
Let's have that conversation. I don't think, like I said, I think I love the Jonah Goldberg line. Hitler could have repealed Obamacare. I think that, I think that that's how I would put that. I don't think that,
Well,
so the reason I don't think that, like, I don't know. I don't think the labels help because they're so, like they said, the difference between Joe Biden doing the thing he did and Donald Trump doing the thing he did with an executive order that's illegal and gets struck down by the courts. They're the same in practice. They're both illegal. They both got struck down by the courts. Really, they're both cop-outs so that they don't have to do the hard thing. They get to go, look at me. I'm working for you.
Joe Biden did.
No, but he
Joe
didn't.
Biden had it twice, and Donald Trump called and said, "Don't support that bill."
I
wanna
don't
be-
care.
talk about it
Guess
during
what?
the election."
Congress gets to make the laws, not the president. Period.
Agreed.
End of story. That's what the Constitution says.
Weak
If
Congress.
Congress chooses not to act, then nothing happens. That is the
Exactly.
Constitution that we set up.
Agreed.
The
No.
president does not
Agreed.
unilaterally do
Agreed.
things when Congress doesn't take action. That is
Agreed.
Congress's prerogative.
No.
Yes.
And Congress also could also override a veto.
What,
So
yeah. What is the constitutional setup where it says the president gets to do stuff if the Congress says no? There's nothing that says that in
He's the
Article
chief
2.
everything. He's the chief everything.
It's Article 2 for a reason.
What?
Article 1 is first. He's
Oh,
not in charge of that.
stop.
It is.
No.
The Constitution is clearly set up to give Congress more power than the other branches. They are not co-equal. That was something that
That's
Richard
their-
Nixon said in the 70s.
There's a system of checks and balances.
Right,
There are
you're right.
three equal parts of the government.
They're not
You-
equal. They're not
you-
equal.
the-
We've
the-
given Congress way
result
more
is-
power than we've given the other two. They're not equal.
and they don't use it. So
Okay.
how is that having power?
That is their prerogative to not use it. That does not mean the judicial
it's
branch
not.
or the
It's their
executive branch.
irresponsibility. It's their irresponsibility to not use it. That's why there's a president to
No.
put something in place until they get off their ass.
Point that to me in the Constitution, where that is in the Constitution. It does not exist, Yergs. It's unconstitutional. So do you care about the Constitution or not? You can say that you don't and you want to change it. That's fine. But you cannot say the president has a power that he's not been given by Congress or the Constitution.
Where does it say that the president has to live in the White House?
That's not a power.
Sure it is. I can't live there.
That's not a power, and that is given by Congress. The White House is designated by Congress for the
Barack
president to
Obama
live in.
said it. Barack Obama said it. I live in the most expensive public housing in the world.
Right, but what does this have to do with his power? He can't pass a
Just
law because
because
it's
it's not in the just because it's not in the Constitution.
or
doesn't
Congress passes a
mean-
law. I said, or Congress gives them the power. Those are the two options for presidential power.
You're asking me to say, where does the president get from being able to take over if Congress does nothing?
It
How
doesn't-
many wars have we been in?
Congress should have that
didn't
power.
openly declare war.
Congress gave that power to the president, and they shouldn't have. It's unconstitutional, I think, and that would be something that I think is
Not if they give it to them. You just said they're the number one agency going.
No, I
That's
think that there are
top of the-
ways.
Top of the food chain.
Okay, there's two
It-
things that can happen at the same time. There are two ways that this happen. Congress can pass a law that says, hey, we're going to create this agency, and the executive branch is in charge of that agency, and the agency can make the rules. That
Like
is,
the Defense Department.
or any of them, all of them. They all do this.
Right then.
Okay.
Right then. So if you're saying that everything has to be done by Congress, it
And
was
or-
when they
no,
created
not everything.
the Defense Department.
Not everything.
When they
But they
created
all,
the State Department. When they created Housing and Urban
I
Development.
know, but let me finish.
I told you guys 6 months ago that when you elect a president, you elect all the people that come with him.
No, but hold on. But Yergs, my point is that the president cannot make a law without Congress. That's it. They cannot do
He's
it.
making a law.
Yes, if you sign an executive order that says you can forgive
an
student
action.
loans, it is not okay. Congress has the power of the purse. Article 1 says Congress gets to pass laws that have to do
And
with
what does the
budgeting.
president
The
do?
president can't. And so
What does the president do?
the president he's the executive. He executes.
What does the president do?
Like, are you talking about Article 2, or are you talking about like all the things that Congress has given him the ability to do? But Congress has not
Yes.
given them the ability to pass laws because they can't do that. They can't do it.
I'm not saying I'm going to say he does, but he or she does what?
They execute the law.
Exactly. They also decide what laws to get executed.
Yeah, but they can't make up a
They
law.
can pick and choose.
They cannot make up a law. You're right. They can pick and choose what they choose to like. If like they can direct the Justice Department to not go after my murderers if they want to. That is their prerogative. I think that's wrong and foolish, but they cannot make up a new law. There is no power for the president to make a new law. It doesn't exist.
The executive orders are not making a new law.
Yes, they are. If you're messing, sometimes they are. That's why they get struck down by courts. So if they're not new laws, why are the laws striking them? Why are the courts striking them down? If you try to say that we're going to forgive student loans, just because that's the newest one, that's the one that Biden's been trying to do over and over again. If you try to say, with the sign of my pen, I'm going to say we're going to give money to people that I don't have the power to do. The president doesn't have the power of budgetary power. Congress can give his agency specific power. They can say, we're going to give the Department of Agriculture X amount of dollars. And then you're right. Joe Biden can decide, or Donald Trump, whoever's the president, can decide how to allocate that. If it's not, what's the word that I'm looking for, Matt, where like some stuff is stipulated in the law that like you have to spend this money on this specific part of Department of Agriculture, but some of it's not. What is it? It's like, nah, but it's like it starts with an R.
Appropriations.
Yeah, but it's basically a thing where Congress can say you have to spend this money on this specific thing. And then there's also like, here's the rest of the FDA's budget that they can discretionary. It's like, I know it's all discretionary spending, but there's some stuff that is actually required. Like the FDA, for example, has to approve new drugs, but they don't have any funding that requires them to check in on drugs they've already approved in the past. And so that's something where it's not mandated to them that they do. And so they just have to decide what to do with the budget, what they think is best. That is in the president's prerogative. It is not in the president's prerogative to say, for example, Donald Trump cannot say, I want to build a wall, and so I'm going to try to move this money from over here to build a wall. That got struck down by the courts. Just like Joe Biden trying to say, I'm going to try to take this money and forget student loans. But he built a wall anyway. Got struck down. Well, no, but he ended up having to build it like through congressional funding, the right way that he had to do it. It got struck down by, Congress was not happy about it either, but the court struck down him trying to take emergency funding to build the wall. They said, no, that's a stretch. And Joe Biden, they've done the same thing with Joe Biden in several situations because the president does not have the power of the purse and he doesn't have the power to create laws. And I know that we think that like, because Congress didn't do something, that something has to be done. And therefore the president can do whatever he wants because Congress didn't act.
No, that's not what I said. I said when Congress has the opportunity to do something, like when Joe Biden sends a bill to Capitol Hill.
It's not Joe Biden's job to send a bill to Capitol Hill.
Yes, it is.
It's his job to sign the bill once it's passed by Capitol Hill.
He can still propose legislation.
No, he absolutely can because his party might listen to him, but it's not anywhere in the job description, and it's not the thing that
it doesn't have to be just specifically in the Constitution.
It does.
To be legal procedure.
No, I didn't say it was illegal, but he doesn't have the power to pass legislation. He can say, I'd like legislation like this.
I didn't say pass. Are you going to ever listen to me? You've been on the air with us for almost a year.
But you're acting like because he sent a bill to Congress and they refused to even send it out of committee, then that gives Joe Biden the right to sign an executive order that does the thing that he sent to Congress. And I'm saying it doesn't.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong. The courts keep backing me up on this. And even when they don't, I think they're wrong in the sense that I think that we've given
you know more than the courts.
The courts continually strike these things down. I'm just saying there are situations where, like, for example,
is it Blake's Constitution of the United States? Because clearly you're even on top of the
No, I'm saying I think the courts can get stuff wrong because we haven't written the laws clearly enough, is what I'm saying. I think that we're not looking at Congress. We should not have we've invested too much power in the presidency, and it's caused all sorts of problems in our country. I think that we look to one person to do all this thing is crazy to me. I also think the executive branch is too big. I think that Congress has created too many agencies. It's impossible for any president to be able to.
I got an idea then. If we're worried about the president having so much influence, why are we letting him say who he endorses for Speaker of the House? Why does that matter?
Well, it matters within the party, but I don't think that it really have. I mean, and normally I would
draw the line then. If the president is supposed to have all this authority, why don't we say, "Hey, you can't propose legislation"?
No, I didn't say you can't.
That makes everybody in Congress, that makes their pussy hurt.
No, I said it's not. It has nothing to do. It's like he can do that. There's nothing illegal about him doing it. He just can't expect that because he sent something to Congress and they didn't do something, then he gets to act illegally.
Even though everybody in the country is saying the border is a crisis.
It doesn't matter. It's not it's Congress's job to
He's
fix.
supposed to sit there and say, well, I guess I'm going to get my ass kicked in the next election.
Well, the
because
difference there
Congress
is that
didn't
what
do
Joe
anything.
Biden did made the border a mess via executive order, and then he had to undo an executive order. And there are some executive orders that are absolutely illegal. I'm not saying that all executive orders are illegal, but some of them do. Like, we do give the president some power to do executive orders, and most of them are legitimate, I would say. But
Are they in the Constitution?
Yeah.
Where?
Pretty sure. I'm almost for sure executive orders are mentioned in the Constitution, because that's how that executive orders are essentially orders from the top over the executive branch. So, for example, he can do an executive order that says, hey, the FBI, we want you to focus on homegrown terrorism.
Listening to us, I type our executive. I don't finish typing the word executive, and the rest comes in orders in the Constitution.
Yeah. But I mean,
there is no specific prison in the United States Constitution for executive orders.
Right, but like executive orders are just what the executive can do with the executive branch. Does that make sense? Like, it's him saying, "Hey, FDA, I want you to do this." Hey, like,
so, but everything you're saying, that because I'm getting the impression that you're a staunch constitutionalist, that it's got to be in the Constitution or it's no good.
No.
There are no executive orders
No.
that are explicitly mentioned in the United States Constitution.
No. I've not said if it's not in the Constitution, it can't happen. There's a million laws right now that have happened outside. It can't be against the Constitution. There's a huge difference between those two things.
Okay, but there's nothing saying that there's anything about executive order. Is that for or against it?
It doesn't matter. Like, the president and Congress both do things, and judges all do things that are not listed in the Constitution. But they can't do things that are against those things that are listed in the Constitution. So it's like the negative rights of the Bill of Rights. Okay. It's not that you have the right to. Okay. Let me back this up.
Executive orders are written instruments that allow the president to issue directives to shape policy.
Right. To the executive branch.
To set a policy direction.
Yeah.
Clarify and further existing laws, like the border.
Right, because Congress has said that he can do so. Orders. But keep in mind, yes.
What is that?
Yes, because that's what happened in the executive orders.
I think I'm going to go with the American Bar Association. With all due respect to your Google ability.
We're talking about two different things. You're saying that the president. Yes, we are. You're saying the president should act on something if Congress can't or doesn't, and do something that is unconstitutional. You're okay with that?
I'm not saying unconstitutional. I'm saying right here it says, according to the American Bar Association, executive orders are written instruments that allow the president to issue directives to shape policy.
Yes.
They can be used to set a policy direction.
Correct.
Clarify and further existing laws.
Right.
And direct executive offices.
Yes. But that's because what I'm saying is that Congress gives him that power by saying when they write laws, what they say is something like, for example,
what you're saying is that the border czar, who's not listed in the cabinet and is not part of the Constitution,
right,
is going to get shot down by the courts.
No. First of all, that's not a real title. It's just like, we're putting you in charge of the border.
Well, all right. Then it's not a real title. How can it be? How can he be directed if he's not an executive officer?
I think we're talking about two different things. I'm saying the reason he can direct stuff is because Congress has said, hey, here's the broad rules that we're giving to the FDA or the border security or Homeland Security, or whoever, but that agency can clarify stuff and can make additional rules. But Congress has to write the law that gives the EPA or whoever the ability to add additional clarification to that. Now, I think that they've done too much of that. I think that Congress should scale back some of that. And we're seeing some of that happen in the courts where they're saying the Chevron doctrine kind of situation.
You're saying the Border Patrol was not created in Congress?
No, it was created in Congress. Absolutely.
So would the director of the Border Patrol not be an executive officer within the executive branch?
Absolutely. Yes.
So if if Trump or Biden says shut down the border via an executive order sent to the director of the Border Patrol.
Yeah,
Is that
with the border specifically, yes, we do give the president more latitude on what they can and can't do, but normally it's based on emergency powers. The problem is we have way too broad of emergency powers, and presidents have started saying anything can be an emergency. So they tried to use COVID for 2 or 3 years as an emergency situation to do things like for the CDC.
A couple million people. I think that's kind of a
right. But
why?
But why does the CDC have the power to say you can't collect rent, or like that? That's not that. My point is we're abusing the emergency powers. And here's the real point of all this conversation started, is because you were saying if Congress doesn't act, the president can, and I'm saying no. If Congress doesn't act or give the president a specific power, and in those situations you just brought up, they've given them those powers. The Congress did not give the president the ability to forgive student loans or to build a wall with money it didn't have.
It started while you guys are arguing about procedure. They're having a procedure in Congress to vote for the next Speaker of the House.
All right. I mean, is it on like C-SPAN or something?
I already sent you the link.
Yeah,
so this is my time to get off because I'm watching this. They're doing roll call now, I think. Oh no, they're doing voting.
Yep.
Yep, they're doing voting. There it is.
All right.
Bernie Moreno was just sworn in as the senator replacing Sherrod Brown.
Yep.
And looks like our governor was there as well. I don't know why the hell he was there, but he was there.
Arrington.
Probably because he gets to pick someone else, right?
That is true. Yeah.
Jeffries.
Yeah, that's right. He has to pick. No, wait. He has to pick. Yeah, he has to pick.
He has to set an election, right?
No. The special election is in 26. He picks until then.
Oh, is that how it works in Ohio?
Vance, you mean?
Johnson.
For Vance, right?
Balderson.
For Vance, yeah.
Johnson.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking about the congressional seat. Yeah.
Jeffries.
For what congressional seat?
Barr.
Was that guy not a
congressman? No, he was a congressman.
Okay.
No, he was not.
Okay, I'm sorry. I've had that confused.
No.
Barrett.
I was running against his son-in-law, congressman.
Maybe that's where I got confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much stuff going on in the.
Baumgartner.
Yeah. So what? So okay. What is the lead
Barrett.
right now? Because is it 3 or 4 seats? Because 2 of those people.
I think they only could lose 1 seat. The GOP.
Okay. Yeah. So 219 to
so 2 seats. So they can lose 1 more seat.
And they can only lose 1, right? Because it's 219 to 215 right now, and it takes 2 because it actually takes a majority.
And Massey's not gonna gonna vote, so that's 218, and so 1 more.
So you literally cannot lose even 1 vote. Yeah, I mean that seems tough.
We're gonna figure this out really quick,
right? Because one person has to say no. Yeah.
This is riveting. I don't like this. I might have to find another one because they're just focused on her. I usually have going around and showing other people.
I think the tricky part about this is going to be, like I said, Trump's not even been sworn in, and we've had the Gates thing. We've had the sort of Musk, his kind of tweet thing about you got to do this kind of stuff. And it seemed like kind of that, we talked about that last couple weeks ago. It's like, it seemed like that kind of went against what Trump was doing. He got on board. Then you've got this thing. I just feel like this is a lot of chaos already, and he hasn't even taken office. I think it's a bad sign of things to come.
What's chaos?
I don't think that this like idea that every Republican is just going to like bend the knee to Trump, even though I think most of them will. It like because their majority is so small, I think it just takes one person even just looking in their best interest. And I just feel like we've already had a lot of things that make people lose their faith that Republicans in Congress are taking their job seriously. And I think it will be, and therefore Trump. I think it will, combined with terrorist attacks and things like that. If people don't feel safe and they don't feel like government's doing their job, I think it's a bad combination for whoever's in power. And so going back to the woke thing, I think you could have a reflexive kickback to Democrats faster than people think that it would really happen, because I think people forget that most of this is just reactionary politics at this point. It's people going, we really don't like that, and so we're pushing that away and giving the other team a chance. I think that happens faster than people realize it. And so I think that Democrats need to look in the mirror for their election loss in 2024. I just think Republicans will handle
Well,
it.
we have to. I mean, look,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be pretty going forward. And look, Democrats are in bad shape because there needs to be somebody that's strong, that is charismatic to go out there that focuses the party again. I hope that they change out the DNC leadership to somebody that is like, I would like to see somebody like Sherrod Brown or Tim Ryan or I don't know who it could be there. I don't know about those. We'll see. But the long story short is like, I think Bernie Sanders said it best, is like, when did Democrats stop running on healthcare? Like,
Well, I mean, I think the problem is you look at where it is on the polls, and I think everyone's looking at the polls and not about like what would. I think there are lots of things that would improve Americans' lives that they're not aware.
I think that's foolish to say that. Oh, they're looking at the polls. No, what are the polls? What are the polls saying? What are the polls saying? The Democratic Party has and parties define what are on those polls, and they haven't defined anything. That's why it's not their issues.
Yeah, I think you're totally right, Matt. I think the problem is that they don't think they have that power to define it, and they're choosing to talk about only the things that make people happy. And I think that's.
I know. I disagree. I think they're defining the wrong things that people they're trying to find the things that people don't care about.
Yeah,
I think that's true. And at the same time being hypocritical. So I think people did care about democracy until they didn't have a primary.
Yeah, but I don't think that lost them anything. I mean, maybe it did a little bit. I think
absolutely.
It did
I think that was honestly the nail in the coffin. When you had Kamala Harris come up without a primary and say that you're taking the reins here after Joe Biden said I'm run for a second term when he said he wasn't, and gaslit everybody about it. Absolutely.
Right, but if you look at the polls, she did better than he would have.
But did she do better than Shapiro? Did she do better than Pritzker? Did she do better than?
Yeah,
that's what a primary is called.
Right, that's totally fair to say.
Did she do better than Biden? I think my dog could have done better than Biden.
I'm just saying people were already rejecting Biden and then continuing.
29% approval rating when he dropped, right, or to 30%. Yeah.
But the other problem is that no one else put their hat in the ring too, because I think no one wanted to be the sacrificial lamb that was going to lose in 2024, and that goes like
it was that, and nobody everybody else saw their careers.
Right. Because my point is, like, if Trump's really the threat that they claim he is, and I think that Trump is a threat for sure. Like, I'm not saying he's not. I think some people take it to an extreme that's extreme. But if Trump is really the threat, let's say he really is Hitler, as Jurgs suggest.
You're learning?
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying, but if you really believe that, then if you are Gavin Newsom, or if you are Josh Shapiro or Gretchen Whitmer or any Pete Buttigieg, pick any of the names that people were throwing out that they should run for president. If you are one of those people and you do feel that way about Donald Trump, and you know Kamala Harris or Joe Biden are going to lose, you are actually not being patriotic by not running. You are only looking out for your own career and wanting to run in 2028. And what it does is it makes your whole argument look like you don't believe it. There's where the hypocrisy comes in. It's like, you can say Donald Trump's a threat all you want, then why is this how the Democrats handled it? Because if he was really a threat, they wouldn't have put Kamala Harris up. They would have forced Joe Biden out. They would have done X, Y, and Z if they really believed that. And I think that's the tricky part, is that I don't know how they convince Americans that Donald Trump or Republicans are a threat, when I do think there are legitimate cases for concern there, if they're not willing to put their money where their mouth is and potentially like lose a seat, or, lose an election, or, I think that's.
I agree. I agree with you, but the fact, look, I agree, but that is part of the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And if people aren't if you don't have the what is the term, profile of courage to stand up and do what needs to be done, then that's part of it.
What really bothers me is that I feel like most of the time that people do the brave thing, they get rewarded for it. Not every time. It certainly is not all the time. But I mean, look at Fetterman. Fetterman's gone against like everything the Democratic Party's tried to, like, the normal, like, towing the party line thing. Or like, it didn't hurt Dean Phillips that he ran against Joe Biden. In fact, it looks like Dean Phillips is the only Democrat with any integrity, because he stood up and said, hey, this is crazy that we're saying this guy can run again. He can't. Like, he cannot do the job. and they weren't punished for those things. I mean, I would say John Fetterman is one of the more his approval rating has gone up in Pennsylvania since he's called out some of the anti-Semitism and some of the ridiculous stuff. And so I don't think, I don't think you always get hammered for having these quote unquote unpopular opinions. I think most people are looking for the authenticity. And I think that they go, even if I don't agree with almost anything, any position probably John Fetterman has on policy, but I appreciate that I do think he is saying exactly what he feels, and he's not tempering it based on what the polls say or what his party thinks is going to be the popular thing to say. We do need more people like that. And Bernie Sanders,
it takes a long time to go through a 400 and something people, doesn't it? This is taking forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not.
Come on. Did they serve beer or something there? Like, he ordered something.
They're still nursing hangovers from New Year's.
Alfred.
Oh, we're in the A's.
No.
Elsie.
No, we're in the E.
Right. We're in the E's. We're not even way through the alphabet.
Johnson.
All right, guys. It was fun.
I'll
talk to you later.
All right, guys.
We'll see how it goes. I bet he survives, though, Matt. I think you're right.
We'll see you guys next week, and we'll find out more then.
We will. It should actually be a week where people are working next week, so we should have more to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. See you, Eric.
Always good discussion again, buddy. Well done. All right, that's it for today. You can get all three of those us knuckleheads by writing Matt info@demonforcongress.com or matt@dailycryptonews.net. Blake Fisher can be found info@thehomelessconservative.com. Matt puts out daily episodes for Daily Crypto News, usually by 10:30 a.m. Eastern. And Blake puts out weekly episodes in The Homeless Conservative, usually on Wednesday or Thursday. You can get us all by writing news, NEWZ, @yergs.com, YERGZ. Look out for more of us at yergs.com and mastiff.media. Also, you can get this on replay by going to YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever. Just search Up the Middle and Yergs. Thanks for running with the big dogs. You've gone up the middle. I will see you on Monday. Dope.
The average radio listener listens for 18 minutes. The average
Yergs
fan listens for, are you ready for this? An hour and 20 minutes.
How can that be?
Answer most commonly given, I want to see what he'll say next.
All right, okay, fine. But what about the people who hate Yergs?
Good point. The average cicada listens for 2.5 hours a day.
Look, but if they hate him, why do they listen?
Most common.